Hello everybody and welcome to this fourth and final video in my ISEB pretest series. This one of course on the non-verbal reasoning section. You know the drill by now. Thank you very much to Pretest Plus for making these resources available for me to use in these videos. Please tell your friends about the Easy 11 Plus YouTube channel. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to this channel. I think that about covers it. Let's get started. So we've got 36 questions to cover in 32 minutes. It's pretty tight for time this part of the test, so we need to keep on moving through and not let ourselves get bogged down. I can tell you that there's nothing here really that you aren't already very familiar with from the other parts of the test. And now the clock has already started, so let's not waste too much time on these examples, but do take the time to use them to really understand what's going on. So you can see that a small triangle is becoming a big triangle, a small square is going to become, surprise, surprise, a big square. Of course it's B, let's not waste time on that. Here you can see that the shape doubles up in a diagonal and the second one becomes black. So you know what we're looking for, it's going to be option B here. By the way, if you're looking at this on a little screen, don't forget to go to your computer, make this full screen and also set the quality, if you can, to high definition or as close to high definition as your computer and internet connection will allow. And that will mean you'll be able to see these little details, otherwise these questions look pretty fiddly. Okay, and indeed B is correct. And now we're at the end of the practice, but the clock is already going, so we don't waste any time when we carry straight on. So you can see that the two halves here are coming together into a circle. Clearly these two things are going to come together into shape A. Take a moment to glance at the other options to make sure there isn't something really similar that could be causing us confusion here. There isn't. We can move on. Okay, so now we have a big little figure going into a little one. This is going to go into a little one. It isn't going to go into a slightly smaller one like B. It's going to get much smaller like D. Okay, so here we can see that the actual overall shape stays the same, but the colour or shading swaps between the two things. So we're looking for something that has the triangle on the left pointing left and the rectangle, so that's limiting us to C or E, but the colours swapping round. So stripy on the right, black on the left, that's going to be C, isn't it? That's the only real possibility there. So we can see here that the kind of crown bit rotates clockwise 90 degrees and moves to the top. So let's deal with that first of all. Rotates round and moves to the top. So that could be shape A, C or E. Then what happens with the rest of it here? Well, this is pretty tricky, but I think we can see that looking at the very left-hand figure that the black dot stays the same, and then the crossed dot comes over the top or behind the black dot, I don't know which, and gets bigger. So we see the outside of it, okay? So we're going to be looking at something with the white diamond in the middle the same, and the black diamond bigger around the outside of it, okay? So we're already limited to A, C and E, and out of those the only one with the white diamond in the middle is E, so we can choose that and move on. We need to be pretty quick on these. I know that some non-verbal reasoning questions are really fiddly, involve a lot of stages. They're going to take more time when we come to them, so don't get stuck on these if you can avoid it. If you feel a question is going to take you ages and you're just really stuck, reduce the options as far down as far as you can and guess between the ones that are left. Don't get bogged down, that is the worst thing to do. Okay, so here we can see the circle moves into the middle, looking at the example figure, and we can see that the square goes to the outside. Okay, so in the actual question, the triangle in the middle and the pentagon on the outside, but that's all of the options. Okay, so there must be something else going on here. Well, the circle on the left stays the same with a line around it, but that seems to be to do with the lower left diagonal line, which also is just solid but not thick, because if we look at the square, that changes and becomes a thick line around the outside, and that matches the top right diagonal line. Okay, so let's go with that logic. So we can see that the triangle, if it takes the bottom left diagonal line, is going to be close dotted, and the pentagon taking the bottom right is going to be dashed. Okay, so close dotted triangle in dashed pentagon, that's option B. Moving on, we don't have time to check every possible alternative to go through them and say, is that really right? We have to keep moving on through. Okay, so here you can see in the example, the mushroom rotates 90 degrees clockwise. So here we're going to have the triangle, the arrow is going to be pointing to the left. That's a clockwise rotation, and it's going to be small. So we're limited to B or C. Okay, we can see on the left-hand one that the little circle goes to the outside. So here the square is going to go to the outside. So that's option B. If you ever don't fully understand what I'm saying, just rewind the video and check again. There isn't time for me to repeat. The clock is going. Okay, so here we can see the whole thing reflects except that the shading or colour swaps between the big thing and the three little things, okay? So we know what we're looking for here. We're looking for something that looks, broadly speaking, like C or D. Which one has swapped the grey and the white? That's going to be option D. Now, I know moving this fast, there's a risk that I'll make the odd mistake somewhere. That's okay. I want to get my best mark overall on the test. Don't be a perfectionist who's scared about losing a mark anywhere. That isn't a good way to get the best mark overall, because you won't finish the test that way. You have to be prepared to make the odd mistake as you keep on moving through. I hate non-verbal reasoning so much. I can't tell you how much I hate this kind of thing. So if you don't like this, I am with you. I'm on your side. I really hate it. Okay, so looking at this, we can see the top left figure seems to move into the middle. Then the bottom right, and then the bottom left. Okay, so top left is in the middle, that's going to be the little cloud. Then the bottom right is the next layer, that's the kind of rectangle thing. Then the grey circle on the outside. So a cloud in the middle that's white, grey circle on the outside. Yeah, that's only D is possible. Onwards. By the way, if you ever need to take notes, have a bit of paper, jot down. You could jot down all the letters, then cross them out as you eliminate. And sometimes that's really useful. I'm just moving on for speed, I'm not doing that right now. So here we can see that it seems the outside colours on this kind of Star Wars fighter swap round. And then what is happening in the middle, I think that might be swapping around as well, because you can see left and one white on the outside, this right and one white on the inside, and the cross on the inside becomes the cross on the outside, if that makes sense. Okay, so we're going to have black on the left, white on the right, and then the inside we're going to have a black dot in a white oval. Okay, let's see if we can find that. So A is similar, but the middle thing doesn't swap. C, that looks like what we want. Okay, so sometimes you can actually work out exactly what you're looking for and then see whether you can find it when the rules are quite simple. That can actually be quite time efficient. Here we can see that it looks to me, looking at the example, as though the whole thing is reflected around the mirror line in the middle, except that the diagonals swap. Okay, so let's look for that here. So we're going to have the same central shape. The arrow is going to be pointing right, and the little white diamond is going to be at the top right. Okay, let's see if we can find that. That would be option A. Nothing else looks like that. Okay, I'm going to go with option A. Again, there might be some other rule there. I might have made a mistake. If I make the odd mistake, the world will not end. Okay, what's going on here? Again, this looks like the whole thing is reflected and the shading, the colours are swapped. So we're going to have the arrow pointing left and the kind of lozenge thing pointing right. Okay, arrow left, lozenge right. That's actually only D, and actually in D the colours have also swapped, so perfect. Okay, looking at this. So what's going on here? We've got the triangle's moved down, the cross has moved left, and the circle has moved up to that corner up there. So it's like those three figures are moving around anti-clockwise, and the big square is swapping between top left and bottom right. So looking at the next one, actually the circle's already in the top left, so that must swap to the bottom right. These things are moving anti-clockwise, so we're going to have the kidney bean top left. Let's look for ones with the kidney bean top left and the circle bottom right. That's C and E, okay. And if the little things keep on moving around anti-clockwise, that's going to be bottom left. So therefore we're going to go with option C. Okay, great. Okay, second thing, classes like. So this is your example here, left is question. So I can see two possibilities here. One, they have a mirror line down the middle. So we need to choose two figures. There are two figures that are similar to each other. Why are they similar? We need to find one on the right that matches them, okay? So these could have a line of symmetry down the middle, or it could be they've each got four sides. If it's a line of symmetry down the middle, that could be A, C, or D on the right. So that doesn't limit. Whereas four-sided shapes, that is only E. Careful, not A, because A only has one side because it's got rounded corners. So that can only be E, okay? So use logic here, as always. Right, looking at these, we've got a triangle and a pentagon, and we've got a rectangle and a square. So what's fitting together? Triangle and a pentagon, they add up to 8 sides. Rectangle and a square, they also add up to 8 sides, okay? So you try option until you find a rule that makes sense. So we need 8 sides here. Don't count all of them. You're looking for something where either it's something like 4 and 4, or there's quite a radical difference, okay? A really small number and a bigger number. So we've got, I can see on the right, we've got a triangle in a hexagon, that's 9, so not quite. We have got, in the middle C, we've got a triangle with a pentagon on the inside. Yep, 5 and 3, 8. Okay, I think I spent too long on that practice question there. Actually, careful, don't do that. Right, so we've got rectangles, and B is a rectangle. Nice and straightforward. Careful, not just quadrilaterals, four-sided shapes, because A is also a quadrilateral. It's more specific, these are rectangles. Okay, do not say these are arrows, because the left-hand example isn't an arrow, because the point's missing. That makes it not an arrow, okay? So we can't just say, well, they're arrows. And in fact, there isn't an arrow on the right either. We need to think what else might be here. Well, there's no line of symmetry involved. Look at the left-hand one, it's not symmetrical. So I'm immediately thinking, what are the other obvious options? I'm thinking number of sides, okay? So let's count the sides for the left-hand one. I'm going to, when you're counting sides, always make sure to start somewhere. So I'm going to start with the left-hand one. I'm going to remember that so I don't double count it. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, 8. Then the second example, let's see whether it's also 8. I'm going to start with the top left one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yes, okay, so 8-sided, I think, shapes is probably where we're going here. A, starting with the top, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, do any of the others look like they might be 8? B might be. Okay, top left, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. C, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. No, too many. D, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Too many. E, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Too few. Okay, so A is the answer. 8-sided figures, shapes. Okay, dead simple. We got a tiny version of the outside thing on the inside. Where are we going with this? Only E matches this. Nice easy one to save some time. Oh look, these are clearly rotations of each other. Okay, so we need another one that's a rotation. Oh, B looks similar, but no, that's a reflection. It's the wrong way around. C looks similar, but the semicircle's been turned. E, definitely E. Okay, so here we've got the outer shape, tiny, in the middle, black. Outer shape, tiny, in the middle, black. Only D. Other ones here seem to match some of those rules, but only D matches all of them. Now looking at, just checking my microphone was picking up, which it is. Phew. Now looking at this, what have we got? We have got black square on the outside, white circle on the inside, and a cross on the edge. Okay. So where have we got black square on the outside, only D and E, white circle on the inside, only D, and that also has a cross on the edge. So D is the only one that matches all those rules. Nice straightforward one there. Look, these ones on the left, they're clearly symmetrical with the vertical line of symmetry. So let's see whether that gets us there. A is B no, C no, D no. Yeah, okay. A is the only one that's symmetrical with a vertical line of symmetry. Easy. This one here, okay, what could be going on here? Well, certainly there's no small shape, big shape relationship that I can see. The second one, well, they're both hexagons, so that would be 12 sides. The left-hand one, top shape, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Bottom one, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, same number of sides for each of the two shapes in each figure. Okay, let's go with that. So A, clearly not. B, clearly not. C, maybe, counting from the top, outside figure, 1, 2, 3, outside shape, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Middle one, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, yeah, that matches. D, no. E, don't think so. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, so only C makes sense here. If you're at risk of forgetting which one you thought was the right answer, take a note of it on your paper. Here, okay, so, accidental knuckle crack. Sorry if that gives you the heebie-jeebies. I wasn't doing it on purpose, but it wasn't too loud on the microphone. Crack! So, these look as though they might push together to make a square, and that would match option B. But if I look at the second example, they're kind of already in a square, so if I push those rectangles together, I think I'm going to make a rectangle. It's going to be longer than it is high. I'm not completely convinced by this. Is there another option? We've got 4 things, we've got 3 things. They're all the same. Okay, but that doesn't limit us because we've got lots of things with lots of similar shapes on the right. Triangles, we've got 4 triangles, so that's 4 times, so that's 12 sides. We've got 3 rectangles, that's 3 times rectangles. Have you seen the video where Benedict Cumberbatch is the actor is narrating a natural history film? and he doesn't know how to say the word penguins. So he keeps saying penguin, penguin, penguin. This is what I'm doing here. Rectangle. Anyway, we've got 12 sides in total. Let's try that one. A, no. B, no. C, 2 lots of 6. That's 12. D, it's got curved bits. E, 50. Okay, right. C. I think it's C, 12. 12 sides in total. That's a better fit than the making a square thing. I'm not convinced they do. Oh, this is looking a bit similar. Yes, similar. We've got 3 similar shapes. Okay, so similar shapes can be different sizes, different rotations, but you could twist and turn them, reflect them, and make something that's the same. So we've got 3 similar shapes in each of the examples. A, no. B, yes. C, no. D, no. Yeah, it's going to be B. It's 3 similar shapes. There we are. Okay, here we've got, again, similar shapes thing. One is much smaller, it's on the edge. B seems to fit that. C, they're similar, but they've been rotated, I think. So B is also aligned in the same way, which is what the examples show. Okay, 60 minutes left. May feel like a lot of time, but with NVR, you know there's going to be some horrible code stuff later that's going to take time. You just know it, okay? It always seems to happen. So keep moving on, don't get complacent. Right, so we've got 3 similar shapes, lots of similar shape ones here, okay? So be ready, again, use the categories of things. Yes, this is a similar shape one. Yes, that's a symmetry one. Yes, that's a rotation one. Get used to spotting or thinking that you're spotting these kinds of patterns, and they will help you to get into a question. So I think I'm dealing with a similar shape one. Big white one, medium grey, little white. Big white, medium grey, little grey. They're not aligned in the same way, okay? So A, they're different, circle and triangle. B, they have big grey, okay, not big white. C, the big one's in the middle. D, yeah, big white, medium grey, little white, that works. E looks the same, but hang on, big one's got 5 points and 4 points and 3 points, so D is the only one that really fits it. On we go. Okay, vertical codes. This is the stuff that I hate so much. But we're going to do it. Together we're going to do it. Okay, so you've got figures and codes. It doesn't really tell you anything about how to do these. So you need to think about how to be systematic in order to do these effectively. And you're definitely going to need your bit of paper to take some notes. So I'm going to be using my tablet here as my bit of paper. So top left here, we've got T, L, B, H, A, L. So what you do here, you need to look for common letters. So in the first column, T, B, A, nothing in common. Second column, L, H, L, looking at the example, there are 2 L's, okay? So there's something in common between the first and the last. What's in common? They've both got diagonal stripes. So L means diagonal stripes going that way, okay? So that means that H, which is the other one, must mean diagonal stripes going the other way, okay? So L is diagonal stripes going that way. Our test shape has got diagonal stripes that way, so it's H. The second letter is going to be H. So it must be B or E, okay? Does that make sense? Options B or option E, because they're the ones ending in H. Looking at the first letter, that can only refer to what the outer shape is, because that's the thing that's different. So T is circle, B is square, A is triangle. Here we're dealing with the circle, so it's going to be T, so it's going to be TH, which is option D, which is actually the answer. Practice one, don't waste time on this, okay? Yes, do it, but do it quickly if you can. So looking at the left-hand column, and when I just say this generally, I'm talking about the examples, not the answers. Left-hand column, KLM, nothing in common. Right-hand common, FGF. F and F, they're in common. Both of those do have a little circle in the middle, so F means little circle in the middle. So G, which is the other one, must mean little triangle in the middle. So on the right-hand side, we have got a little triangle in the middle, so it must be something G, okay? What G? Well, KLM, they are all different. What's all different here is the outside shape are all different. So looking at the question here, we've got an outside hexagon. Looking back at the examples, outside hexagon is the first one, that's K. So we must be looking at KG, and that is option D. Let's see. Yes, that's correct. Okay, so that's our practice question. We've got the hang of this. Right, end of practice, and now we get into the true horror of it. Let's see if I can bring my laptop screen share up. So, looking at the codes here, so the left-hand column, we've got R in the first and R in the last. What have they got in common? They have got a big hexagon around the side. So R means big hexagon, S must mean big outer rectangle. So clearly our question shape, when I say question shape, I mean the one that's slightly to the right. So our question shape is rectangle, it's going to be S, so it's going to be S something. Right-hand column, we've got x, y, y. So the second and third examples have something in the middle, and the top one doesn't. So x must mean empty and y must mean full. Our rectangle here is empty, so it's x. So it's going to be Sx, and that is D. So we select D and we move on. Okay, so here, the first column, FGH, nothing in common. Second column, X, Y, X, they have something in common. In common? I'm getting a bit confused here. I hope you aren't. I'm sure you aren't. So what do they have in common? They don't have anything common in the dark shapes, but they do in the white shapes. Okay, they've got a circle for the first white shape. So we've learnt two things here. The second letter refers to the first shape, and X means circle. Okay, in the answer, we have first shape as a triangle, and that matches second letter Y in the shapes on the left. Okay, so the first letter, FGH, they're all different. I reckon they refer to the second shape. So we've got the sideways H, or the weightlifting weight. That's going to match H as the first letter. H, Y. H, Y, do we have that option? We do, it's E. Hope it's right. Onwards. Rub that out. The hair on the screen. So, oh, look, it's me, RL. RL, SL, T, M. First column, nothing in common. Second column, L is the first two. They've got a black rectangle. So L is the black rectangle. Our question here has the white rectangle, so it's something M. Now looking at RST, what's different in all of these? We can see that what's different is the top shape. R, spiky, S is curved, and T is sliced off. Here we've got curved, that's S, so it's going to be SM. That's option C, and we move on. I know I'm rushing these. I may well get some wrong. That's okay. It's acceptable. You're trying to get the best mark overall, and that really means you need to finish the test. So don't just rush crazily and guess all over the place, but if you've moved quickly, you're pretty sure you've got the right answer, put it in and move on, and don't panic, don't stress about whether it was exactly right. You can lose the odd mark and still get a fantastic overall score, if you're sensible about it. The perfect is the enemy of the good is a bit of a cliche, but it's quite a useful phrase, I think. Okay, so left-hand column, L, M, N, M. Okay, so we got M's in common. So what do the second and last shapes have in common? None of the others do. They have a grey inside shape. Okay, so the first letter is the inside colour. Here we've got a white inside colour. That matches the third shape, so it's going to be N something, I think. Okay, second column, we've got X, Y, Z, X. So that's the first and last. So what do the first and last have in common? They have that the outer section is white. That's what they have in common. So I think X means outer section white. And that's the case in our question shape as well. I beg your pardon. So we're going to have X. So we're going to have NX. I reckon NX is A. And we move on. Next one. Oh no. I hate it. I hate it already. Okay, so what can we do with this? LXF, MYG, Okay, left-hand column, LMNL. So what do these left-hand shapes say? What do these figures have in common? First one and last one. All they have in common that I can see is that the middle figure has stripes. So I think the left-hand letter tells you what pattern the middle figure has. We'll go with that. So in that case, in our question shape, the middle figure is grey. So our left-hand letter is going to match the third figure, so it's going to be N. Hope that makes sense. Right, next column, X, Y, X, Z. So what do the first and third have in common? They have that the last shape is filled in black. So the second letter tells us about the last shape. Second letter, last shape. So in our question shape, the last shape is white. So that's going to match the last one here, which makes it Z. NZ. Oh, I hate this so much. NZ is an option. It's option C. Okay, because I've only got 7 minutes left, so I'm not going to finesse this. It could be that I've made a mistake and I've got this one wrong. but I'm going to move on because that is the sensible thing to do in the context of the exam, not to take the time to check my answers perfectly. I found a good system, I've used it, I've got to a single answer. That's as good as I can reasonably expect from myself. Okay, looking at this. X, R, Y, S, Z, T, X, S. So left-hand column, we've got X in the terse shape and X in the last shape. So what do they have in common that none of the others do? They have this shield around the outside. The others have all got circles of various kinds, but that's what they have that's different. So left-hand one gives the outside shape. Okay, so looking at the answer shape, it's got this hexagon, and that can only match Y. So we're Y something. Y. Okay. A couple of things, yeah, B and D are both possibilities there, so we haven't eliminated down to one option yet. R, S, T, S. Okay, what do the second and last one have in common? They have two circles on the inside, whereas the first and third are different. Okay, so second letter is circles on the inside. I like this one's much easier. We got three circles on the inside in the question shape, and that can only match our third example, so it's T. So we got Y, T, and Y, T is option D. Hallelujah, we got it. On to the next. Okay, but we've only got nearly 6 minutes left, so we need to keep pushing on here. Okay, left-hand column, R, S, R, T, so first and third, they each have 4 white circles in the middle. Our answer shape has 3 white circles in the middle. That matches the second one, so that's S. Second letter R, G, H, F. So what do the first and last have in common? They each have a 4-sided gummy bear, 4-pointed gummy bear. So that's that. There's we've got a 5-pointed gummy bear, a bit more of a gummy bear really. That can only match the third example, H, S, H. Okay, S, H, and that exists. Option E. Phew. So we can rub that out and move on. So what have you got? Oh no, it's another one with 3. Okay. No panic, Robert. So, left-hand column, R, S, R, T. What do the first and third have in common? They've got a rectangle around the outside. So that's a shape around the outside. Our question shape matches the second example, which is kind of like, I don't know what it's like. I don't care. It's an S, okay? Clearly an S. Second column, F, G, H, G. So what do the second and last have in common? They have got 1, 2, 3 stripes across the top. Our question shape has got 2 stripes across the top. Counting it like this, that matches the first example. So F, S, F. Do we have many SFs? Yes, we do. We've got a couple of options with SF, so we need to keep on moving through. We haven't found it yet. Last column, X, Y, Z, X. So what do the first and last have in common? They've got a circle in the inside. This is a circle in the inside. It's not so bad. So this is the question shape's got a cross in the inside. That's the third example. So it's Z, S, F, Z. Oh, D. Have I told you how much I hate non-verbal reasoning? I hate this stuff. And what's the point of it? What are we learning through doing this? We're just learning to do exams and then we're going to forget it. It's not going to help us with our lives in any way. It's a complete waste of your time. But you have to do it, so sorry. Anyway, I hate non-verbal reasoning so much. But spatial reasoning and all that nonsense. And also there are plenty of people who have poor spatial reasoning who are fantastically brilliant at other academic skills. Does it really make sense to single that out and, fetishize it in this way? I think it's nuts. But anyway, okay. QFL. QR, I had to get that off my chest. QRST, nothing in common there. Second column, FGHF. Okay, first and last have rectangle on the left. Okay, so the second column of letters is the shape on the left, if that makes sense. So in our question shape, the shape on the left is the vertical oval, so that's H. So we've got something H, something H. Okay, last column, L column of letters, L, M, L, N, trying to move quickly now, running short of time. What have they got in common? They've got first and third have got the dotted line in the middle. Okay, here we've got a double line in the middle, so that's the second one. Okay, so the last letter is going to be M. Something H, M, that can, C or D. Okay, first letters are all different. What's all different here? Q, R, S, T. That's the shapes on the right are all different. So this one has got a circle on the right, so that's going to be Q. Q, H, M. Sorry if that's not clear. I don't have time to explain it more. the trouble with doing this under actual time conditions, I get into a rush towards the end of the test. Right, what have you got here? F, G, H, Q, all different. L, M, N, L, what have they got in common? They're divided into 2. This one's divided into 3, so that matches M being the second letter. Last column, R, S, R, T. Okay, R first and last, what have they got in common? They have got stripy and white. Okay, this has got spotty and white, that's the last one, so that's going to be T. M, T, do we have multiple options? If we do, first column, okay, I've gone to a tangle here and I'm short of time. So now I'm going to show you what you do. You say, well, this could be A or it could be C, and I'm just going to take a guess, a completely random guess, and I'm going to move on. It might be right, it might be wrong. Okay, looking at this one here. So R, S, T, S. So S must describe the circle in the middle. This has a triangle in the middle, so we must be R. Second column, X, Y, Z, X. Okay, first and last have in common dot, then full outer line. This has thick, then thin. That is the third finger, so it's Z. R, Z. Okay, A or D. Last column, K, L, M, N. These are all different. What's all different is the outer shape. Here we've got the circle outer shape, so it's N. R, Z, N. That's D. Moving on to the last one here. So W, X, Y, Z. Don't know. F, G, H, F. Okay, they're both looking up, so the second letter is where they're looking. We're looking straightest in the middle here, so that's going to be H is the second letter. So I've only got 30 seconds left. I'm going to have to guess if I don't get this soon. Last one, R, S, T, S. So S is the eyebrow, being a single line. Eyebrow here is dotted, that's R. So it's something H, R. That can only be E. So phew, with 15 seconds left, I click finish. Let's see how I did. Okay, so I got 33 out of 36. So I've got 3 of these wrong. Let's go in and have a look and see where I made my mistakes. So I can see that question 12 was a mistake. Let's have a look at this one. So what did I do here? I had it backwards. I was moving from the right-hand example to the left-hand example, so I had them moving anti-clockwise, X to the left, triangle down, circle up there. It's the other way around, it's clockwise. And so rather than picking B, I picked option C, where the kidney bean ended up in the top left. Silly mistake, but these things happen. We all make mistakes sometimes. Don't beat yourself up. Just look at the overall score and hopefully you've still done very well. 32, what happened there? So this one here, okay, I thought I'd handled this one pretty well, but obviously I didn't. So what is wrong here? So I said, what did I say? I said left-hand column is the outer shape, so it's going to be R would be for a big rectangle, but here we've got one with a little chunk cut out the corner, so that matches the second one, so it starts with S. Okay, so that's B, C or D, those 3 options. Then the second letter, you can see that G matches having the 3 lines striping across the top. Here we got 2, so that's F. So we got SF, that's the one, SF. So B or D. And then the last letter, we can see that X matches having a circle inside, so Z must match having a cross inside. So what do we say? We say SFZ. You know what? I think I worked it out and then clicked the wrong one. Oops, silly mistake, but these things can happen. And now the last one I got wrong was 34 here. I do like the fact that with these pretest plus tests that they give you the solution once you've done the test and they actually give an explanation at the bottom. It's really useful to see how the reasoning works according to them. So this one I got wrong. Okay, I thought this is the one where I got into a real tangle. Okay, so left-hand column is clearly matching the outside shape. So here the outside shape is a rectangle and that matches H from the examples. So it must be an H. Second column, L, M, N, L. So first and last ones are each divided into 2. This one's divided into 3, so that must be M. So we got H, M. Well, that already limits us to option A. Not quite sure how I ended up choosing option C. Oh, it's because I had MT and then I got into a mess. Okay, So I don't know how I got so tangled there, but that's what happened, and yes, I made a mistake. Such is life. I think there's some really important things for you to take from this experience. One of them is that making a mistake is absolutely fine. I teach the 11 plus, and I made 3 mistakes in that test. So you certainly shouldn't be worried if you do. If you did better than me, then tell me about it in the comments and make me feel suitably ashamed of myself. The other thing that you should really take from this is that when you get bogged down on a question, consider the ones that are possible and take a guess between them. You saw me do that. Don't run out of time in the exam because you want to get question 25 perfect, and that means that you miss out all the questions from 26 to 36, okay? Because that means that you will definitely lose 11 marks. Whereas if you just guess for 25 and have time to do the rest, you'll probably lose many fewer marks than that. So be commonsensical, don't be a perfectionist. The perfect is the enemy of the good. And apart from that, I hope you found this series really useful. Please share these videos with everybody you know who's preparing for the ISEB pretest so that they can do as well as possible and so that your friends have the best possible chance of joining you at your school of choice. And also, don't forget to check out all the other squizillions of videos in the Easy 11 Plus YouTube channel covering all manner, pretty much any aspect you could think of the 11 plus test, whether for a grammar or for an independent school. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Thank you to Pretest Plus for providing these resources, and I hope to see you next Tuesday evening for my next Easy 11 Plus live lesson. And don't forget to click on this video next, where you can keep on learning. Goodbye.